I'm Army Captain Jessica Halliday, Commander 113th Forward Support Company, and welcome to the very first episode of the Rock Report. Recently, 1st Army Division East soldiers of the 157th Infantry Brigade spent the morning at a local elementary school putting a group of 4th graders through a fitness boot camp. Here's Tim Sproles with the story.
1st Army Division East soldiers of the 157th Infantry Brigade took 4th grade students at Parkside Elementary School in Columbus, Indiana, to boot camp.
Can you hear me?
The soldiers of the 157th are assisting with Action for Healthy Kids, which is a nationwide initiative dedicated to improve the health and educational performance of children through better nutrition and physical activity in schools.
Well, today we have soldiers that volunteered from throughout our brigade to come down here and spend about an hour and a half with the 4th grade class doing a boot camp. So they'll do a little bit of drill and ceremonies, but it's mainly about practicing good habits of exercise, having a little fun, and interacting and giving back to the school, let them see the soldiers and participate with them.
There's always ways to improve our strengths and our weaknesses. And by having the soldiers here, it's been awesome because the kids love them, first of all. We bond with them, and I think it's a two-way street. The soldiers bond with the youth, whether it could be their own children or their own siblings. They miss them from being far away from home, and they just love uniting with them. And not only that, but they're teaching us more about nutrition and more about fitness and the importance of it to live a healthy lifestyle.
Reporting from Parkside Elementary School in Columbus, Indiana, I'm Tim Sproles.
ROTC cadets from 20 different schools in the Midwest traveled to Indiana to see if they have what it takes to wear the German Armed Forces badge for military proficiency. Here's Darcy Marlette with the story.
More than 300 ROTC cadets from over 20 Midwest colleges took part in German Armed Forces Badge for Military Proficiency testing held at both Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, and Camp Atterbury Joint Maneuver Training Center in Edinburgh, Indiana.
It included a wide variety of track and field events, including a high jump, shot put, 100-meter dash, and a long jump and a stone throw. Some of the other events that were undertaken over the weekend were a road march and a pistol qualification.
Training and preparing for that goal and giving it your all and your best to see how you stack up, see how you measure up to the standards of a NATO ally of ours, of course the German Armed Forces, and to know and understand and recognize after that test that they measured up, that they have the scholastic, athletic, and leadership abilities that the American people expect our Army officers to have.
I think after the competition they know what they have done. We like to see, for example, when American soldiers are wearing that badge, because we see in that our strong partnership between the German and the American Army. I think that shows something.
Reporting from Camp Atterbury Joint Maneuver Training Center, I'm Darcy Marlette.
We'll be right back with more Rock Report after this.
During 2013, the Army will conduct an education and training program called America's Army, Our Profession. Over those 12 months, we will address the findings of the Army Profession Campaign, reaffirm our professional identity, and solidify the Army profession and ethic in the next generation of our Army professionals. I'm asking all leaders to ensure every member of the profession conducts themselves in a manner worthy of our professional status. Soldiers and Army civilians must understand and be committed to the Army profession and ethic. Leaders must incorporate Army profession concepts into their organization's professional development program. The Army established a website to help in this effort. It features curriculum, videos, posters, doctrine, and suggested readings. Use this website to train your soldiers and Army civilians. The Army of 2020 must not only be resilient and ready, but also competent, committed, and of honorable character. We are America's Army, and this is our profession.
Welcome back to the Rock Report. Colonel Ivan Denton, Garrison Commander of Camp Atterbury Joint Maneuver Training Center, recently sat down with Tim Sproles for 5 of your questions.
Hello everyone, I'm Tim Sproles and welcome to the first edition of 5 Questions. Seated here to my left is the Garrison Commander of Camp Atterbury, Colonel Ivan Denton. Sir, thank you for spending time with us today to answer these questions. Well, first question. Since you've taken over command, sir, how would you say everything's going?
Well, obviously I'm biased. I'm the commander, so I would hope if you asked that question to the average employee, they would say Atterbury's, going extremely well. I do think to really answer that question, you got to kind of take a look at the big picture, and the big picture is the taxpayers have spoken, and we're going to start saving money with defense instead of spending it. So I think what you're going to see at Atterbury over the next 2 years is a lot of change. Some activities will remain, some will go away. For example, the mobilization mission, as our employees already know, and as I covered at our last town hall meeting, is probably going to go away in the end of 2014, or at least it's going to be significantly reduced. And I think what you're going to see as well is see some areas grow within the UAS, the unmanned aerial systems, cyber, some areas where the DOD and Department of Army is going to invest dollars. So again, what I always try to leave Hoosiers with, as well as our employees, is Camp Atterbury will continue to compete for activities that the Department of Defense and Department of Army need to fund. And we want those activities here. So that's what allows us to be a quality reserve component site, and I think under the leadership of General Umbarger, and hopefully I can continue to contribute to that, we're going to be a world-class reserve component training center.
Well, fitting in with that, sir, there's a lot of construction projects going on right now. Can you tell me a little bit about those and what piece they're going to play?
Yeah, I had no idea the Army had spent $500 million on our infrastructure since 9/11. What year did you start working here?
04.
Okay, so when you were here in 04, there were probably a lot of trailers. A lot of employees worked out of trailers. You look at our site now, you see a lot of semi-permanent structures going up that, quite frankly, are pretty nice. I mean, you walk inside them, they're drywall. Nothing like the trailer. So when you start to look at all that, to include Milcon of our new ROTC, which ForceCom paid for on the north side, that's really going to help us as we move forward. Again, we're as blessed as any reserve component site of the 104 sites in the Army National Guard inventory.
Sir, can you tell me a little bit about the integration between Camp Atterbury and Muscatatuck?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when you could almost say it was Camp Atterbury and Muscatatuck Urban Training Center. They were kind of known as two different sites. As General Tooley and his staff marketed Muscatatuck, it was kind of a standalone entity. I think as we've kind of moved forward now, we're looking more of hey, Atterbury, Muscatatuck. When you say Muscatatuck, you're talking about Atterbury. When you say Atterbury, you're talking about Muscatatuck. We hope our customers and our end users just kind of feel like, hey, if I come to Atterbury, I'm welcome to go to Muscatatuck as long as it's available, and vice versa. We want to be known throughout the Army National Guard and Department of Army as Camp Atterbury, Muscatatuck.
Kind of bouncing off of that, when you take into effect the kind of training that we have here, the main installation of Camp Atterbury, the complex urban environment in Muscatatuck, and then the new UAV stuff we're trying to do. What kind of that's a great question. I think if you were to say
why would I want to go to Muscatatuck? Well, you want to go to Muscatatuck because you're probably doing collective training that puts you in an urban environment. That's why you would go to Muscatatuck. That can be done a lot more than here at Atterbury. Now, if you wanted to shoot on ranges and do more individual training, you're gonna come to Atterbury. If you wanted to maneuver in a wooded or an open environment, you know, over long distances, you're gonna want to come to Atterbury. From the cyber perspective, as we start to be threatened by other nation states, we're hoping to be able to exercise that capability with units then that train either here at Muscatatuck. So we really want the cyber component embedded in the training, just as we want the UAS to be embedded in the training. And those are two components of training that you really weren't talking about, you know, 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. So those are two areas that we're wanting to kind of be in the leading edge, especially so special operation type units can come in here and train and really get a little bit more of a realistic workout.
As we're ramping up for, I guess, quote unquote, the busy time of year with the big exercises, do you have any advice for NCOs, junior leaders, just to make that transition?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's you know, obviously we're a reserve component training site. So as a reserve component training site, guess which months are going to be the busiest? Could it be the summer months? Absolutely. So we always know that we're going to get pounded in the summer in terms of op tempo. But one thing we're trying to do is do more of a rotation and try to get maybe one major rotation a month. Obviously in December and January, February, that might be difficult, but we are trying to get a little bit more of a, instead of a huge increase in the summer, we're trying to be a little bit more steady state, which will help us with our contracts. But clearly, NCOs and officers have to be a little more vigilant in the summer because, quite frankly, when you look at safety and the chances of us having a serious incident, they do increase in the summer months. So, needless to say, we need to make sure we're extra aware and doing what's right and making sure we're doing everything in a safe manner.
Well, sir, thank you for your time. That's it for this edition of 5 Questions. Be sure to remember questions can be submitted through the Public Affairs Office, and we'll be right back with more Rock Report.
Seatbelt. I never wear a seatbelt. What are you doing, son?
Checking to see if it's loaded.
Go, 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 go. Run them all.
Buckle up, dum-dum.
Soldiers of the 157th Infantry Brigade recently utilized some of Camp Atterbury's simulation capabilities to conduct weapons familiarization. Ashley Roy reports.
1st Army Division East soldiers of the 157th Infantry Brigade recently paid a visit to the Camp Atterbury Joint Maneuver Training Center Simulations Division to assist with weapons familiarization and squad-level training.
As a training team here at the 157, what we begin to do is go out and reach and find the resources available here at Camp Atterbury so we can turn around and give those to the incoming units that are training here on Camp Atterbury. This is a great tool because of the cost effectiveness of this. We can work out a lot of the problems that soldiers might have just in the crawl phase of training without having to actually put them on ranges. We just scratched the surface on what they're capable of doing.
Reporting from Camp Atterbury Joint Maneuver Training Center, I'm Ashley Roy.
World War II veteran Arthur Brown sat down with Army Staff Sergeant David Bruce to discuss his time aboard the USS Enterprise CV-6.
My name is Arthur Brown, and I was a ship fitter 2nd class on the USS Enterprise CV-6. And I was on it for 28 months from Guadalcanal to Japan. I worked in damage control and firefighting. And I was also one of the deep sea divers aboard the ship. Yeah, they want to know what branch I wanted in, Marines, Navy, or Air Force, or whatever. I told them, I said, buddy, I don't know how to dig a foxhole, but I know how to swim. So they put me in the Navy. I volunteered. I saw more ships down there than I thought they'd be out in the ocean out there. I mean, everywhere these ships. But we was in it, I mean, you know, you couldn't have got into any worse than what we had it. And out of 21 battle stars, the Enterprise got 20. I never got over the battles, because I can't sleep. I've never told the boys, I never sleep one night all night long. I can't do it. I have to get up. I never told nobody. I just put up with it. But you don't forget. It's there.
Growing up as a kid, like you said, I never heard the stories that he's coming up with now. I didn't realize the intensity of it until I became an adult. He doesn't seek out the recognition. All he's got to do is just wear that CV-6 hat and it comes to him. It's good to see him get the recognition now.
I felt like I was a dignitary, and I never had this before. I felt honored to be on that ship, really.
He's not a wealthy man, but he is very rich.
Well, I figure I'm rich.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Rock Report. If you have any questions or story ideas for future reports, please contact the Camp Atterbury Public Affairs Office at 812-526-1499, extension 1433. I'm Captain Jessica Halliday, and I will see you next time on the Rock Report.